course, that didn't work out right.
You're muted and we're live.
And I messed up on several different things here because I didn't link up my phone to my Rodecaster, so I wasn't gonna play the music right, and then I'm muted. So it is what it is. But here we are. It's America Unplugged. How is everybody doing? Greetings and blessings. The War on Reality report, and it's never been more real than it is right now. And we're going to continue to say that every week because it's not going to get any better. At least what reality is, right? It's just going to get murkier and murkier and murkier for a lot of us. Don Jeffries, the legendary. How are you, sir? Say what's up to the people.
Good, hanging in there. Somebody said we're late. I guess he means me at my age. That may or may not be cause for concern. I don't know. It's kind of a.
It's 12:05. We're
always fashionably late here.
Right. You never listen. I'm gonna give you a bit of advice here. You never show up to a party on time. That makes you a lame, right? When you go to a party, you show up fashionably late. That's a little bit late, not too late, and that's just
back in America. Right now. Back in America 1.0, I was known to fashionably show up late to work all the time. So you can do that then. I don't think you can do that now and remain employed, but.
No Tony Arterburn this week. He is fashionably late. He's never really late, but he's doing it on purpose. He's showing up fashionably late to something right now. Shouts to Tony Arterburn, but we have the Angry Tiger here with us, sitting in. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us. Welcome to America Unplugged. Say what's up to the people.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone, and it is an honor to be here with you and Don, and I'm doing great. It's a great day.
Man.
And you know what? Fashionably late. I'm always late on mine.
You
a couple minutes usually.
You gotta be. People are fashionably late rolling into the chat. What is going on? Everybody in the chat, and people are going to be tuning in throughout the course of the hour. We appreciate all of you. And let's get right into it. Right. Epstein is back in a big way. It had subsided a little bit because Trump is a bull in a china shop, and he's like turning over everything, right? And then ICE took over there for a little bit, right? And that's not going away either. But Epstein is back, and this is never going away. And for the first time in a long time, I am really optimistic that we can make some serious change and serious damage to the Trump armor here. I think a lot of this has already happened. There is fallout all over the world, which we can speak of to a degree. Not so much here in the United States because, it's the center of corruption, apparently. But things are moving in the direction where most people, unless you're a diehard, right, unless you're in the cult, are like, something's wrong here, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. They might still have varying views. Somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I still don't agree with a lot of what she says, or Thomas Massey, but we're together in saying this guy is not it, and he needs to go, right? And I think a lot of people are coming to that realization, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful, and we need that. Let's see what happens come 2026. It is 2026, so come November, let's see what develops. But here we are, and the Epstein dam has broken. It seems that we still have 3 million more documents to be released, and who knows what we're gonna get there, but this is very convoluted, a very murky swampland that we're going through with these Epstein files. And ultimately, I'm going to let the panel go around and speak on this. I know you guys touched on it last week a bit, and Don did a show on it last night. I'm going to do more on it tomorrow night, Guerrilla Underground, 7 p.m. Eastern. I might start at 6. But 7 p.m. Eastern. If you get a notification and you tune in at 6, lovely. Yeah, I'd love to have you, but I'm not sure if I am or if I'm not. I'll definitely be there by 7. But I might go in early and start talking about some of this. I have a lot of thoughts. We have guests. Tiger's going to join me as well. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. But it seems as if the dam has broken, and all this information is out there. Now, to what end is a different story. And what's happening in particular to us here in the alt media, right? We've been used many, many times by these people. And for some reason, I hear people around the alt media saying, hey, we're taking a victory lap. Well, we were right about all of this. Your guest said it yesterday, Don, on your show. I feel vindicated. What the hell do you feel vindicated about? This shit ain't good. This shit ain't good. Plus, you're wrong on top of that. But none of this is good. Well, let's go around the horn. What are you thinking about all of this, Don? Why do you think this is being released? Why do you think they're incriminating themselves? Because that's what they're doing. It's incredible to me. It's like they're running a Jedi mind trick on you. They tried it with ICE, right? And they're like, no, that murder didn't happen. That murder didn't happen. So it's kind of the same here. They're like revealing everything. Like look at all of these allegations that I don't know how many people have leveled against everyone in MAGA, apparently. And by MAGA, I don't mean the people. I mean the brass that are running things. I mean Trump. I mean Lutnick, RFK Jr. We have to stop with the RFK Jr. love. We have to stop. We have to stop. Okay? He is down with them, and he was at Epstein Island. I am sorry, guys. Okay? Pam Bondi. Not that anybody loves her, but you saw her freaking deranged explosion. These people are not normal, that are in the position of power and running these things right now. So what do you think of all of this, Don? I don't know why this is happening. I think I know something, but it's just very, very mind-boggling, everything that's going on, all the revelations. Talking about eating kids. I never thought we'd be talking about this in a serious manner. You understand? So whatever. Don, I'm turning it over to you. What's up?
Well, I think that, and I think we all agree on the question is why these things are being released, why they're letting us see this. And of course, we could look at it's a Jedi thing, and they're trying to, I don't know, move us in the wrong direction, whatever. I can only look at the material and assess it in what they're showing. Yeah, they have just made it all up, or is this they want to reveal the way they really are, and they want us to see that these are the kind of things that they leave incriminating statements. I don't know what kind of person would put in an email, I give you permission to kill him because he lied to you and me, which apparently Susan, forget her name, one of Epstein's honchos, Susan, his recruiter or whatever, groomer, apparently said that. Thanks for the torture film and all these kinds of things. And I saw one yesterday, Russ had on there. They talked about going to a party where there were 30 girls between 6 and 7. So, they're putting this stuff out there. Why are they doing it? Do they want us to know? And the big deal, they don't care. I've said for a long time, they like to advertise this stuff. That's what the magic bullet and the JFK assassination is about. Took me decades to realize. Of course, they would have planted a bullet that looked like it hit something. They planted a pristine bullet and then they said it caused 7 wounds. Same thing with the magic passport of 9/11, floating down on top of all the rubble. They wanted us it's a calling card. This is the biggest calling card we've ever seen. Now it opens up. There's so many things here, and it goes beyond. Now I know we're going to discuss Pizzagate, whatever you want to call that, but I mean, there's 800 to 900 references to pizza alone, supposedly in this. Way too many, and they've thrown grape soda in there now. Grape soda is, you look at the email exchange between Epstein and his urologist. Apparently Epstein had erectile dysfunction, so the young girls weren't getting him excited as they used to, I guess. So he had to go there, and the urologist tells him, after you take this, wash your hands, and let's go get some pizza and grape soda. It's obviously code for something. People said it's adrenochrome. I don't know, but it's grape soda. These people are not drinking grape soda. I can guarantee you that. And then there's all the references to jerky. This is a new one. There's one reference to Epstein having tons of jerky that he's keeping in his freezer while he goes and travels. Jerky, as I understand, is something you buy at 7-Eleven. It's like the lowest form of food. Maybe you can't afford anything else. The elite are not eating jerky. But apparently, this is what most people think it's code word for young flesh or whatever. And then we come into the cannibalistic aspect, which seems all too clear. And they're, why do they want us to know this? I mean, there's a guy in there they talked about that. I didn't know there was a restaurant in California called The Cannibal. Who would name their restaurant The Cannibal? I mean, that's ridiculous. I thought Dick's Dirty Crabs down in Nag's Head was bad, but the Cannibal? So, so something really nefarious is going on. It goes way beyond trafficking, and why they want us to see this, I don't know. Or, you could say this is all, they're all made up and they don't really do this stuff. I find that hard to believe because I think they are evil people. I think they serve Satan for the most part, and I think that's how they get in positions of power. They have to do this. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk was trying desperately to get on Epstein Island, and they kept saying no. I mean, Epstein is, he has had a baby with one of the most gorgeous actresses in Hollywood. This guy has no problem getting women. George Clooney was on the island. He had trouble finding even underage girls. I'm pretty sure he could find that on his own, and he would get away with it. Something very strange is going on here. But let's say that they're eating them, then it may provide it might be better for them to go to a place that has the facilities and the cleanup and all that. I can't even imagine. I think that's the only thing that explains it. But there's from everything from the whoops. The Epstein had a thing with whoops, and you mentioned RFK Jr. They just matter of factly mentioned RFK Jr.'s ex-wife being found hanged in a barn, which I've talked about. And Epstein's reaction was whoops. And there's several other whoops in there. This is apparently his way he reacted to death, and to put a spin on it, like either, oh yeah, I knew it was coming, or whatever. But I mean, what is that? So and then of course there's the Jewishness of it, the overt Jewishness of it, where Epstein is talking about, and all of them are talking about goyim nonstop, which is, I thought, just the anti-Semites talked about that. And you had the great line from Epstein, the goyim exist only to serve us. I don't know how you explain that away. Well, Epstein was just joking. Well, could one of us get away with, if one of us sent an email out saying, blacks, let's bring back slavery because blacks exist to serve us. I don't think we could get away with that and say we were joking. So, and there's, I had Kathy O'Brien on my show years ago, and she talked about playing how the elite like to play the most dangerous game. If you've seen that movie, it's, they hunt humans. And apparently they love hunting children. And she talked about Dick Cheney being heavily involved in that. Well, there's emails to suggest that the most dangerous game is going on. And in one of them, Epstein talked about everybody that they were going to be hunting were N-words. And he used the N-word more than once in that. So there's lots of smoke here. And but the big question I think we all agree on is, why are they letting us see this? Are they doing this because just to let us know this is how bad they are, or maybe a sampling of how bad they are? And so what? What are you going to do about it? Because we know there's nothing we can do about it. Because as the guy said, the assistant attorney general says, well, we have to find, can we prosecute? And that's true. I mean, is it a crime to say, I give you permission to go kill him? You're not even mentioning the name. So that's the thing. So these, technically, they're probably not. But as I point out, if you're an average person and you're a pervert that gets caught on an online scam, online sting with underage kids that don't exist, and most of the people that are child predators, there's no victim involved. Police go undercover, just like narcs, and they pretend they're a little girl or a little boy, and they lure some pedophile out there to say something incriminating, and they use that. They use what he says in the chat or the email to convict him, because there is no victim, there's no kid involved. So if you can convict people on that, why can't we convict people on what these people are saying in emails? It's the same thing. Well, the rules won't apply. They'll claim that they can't do it, but I don't know where this is going. I don't know why they're letting us see it. And if you know, when those about Pam Bondi's, if you watch her testimony, that was very interesting. And again, for those of you who believe the Congress stuff is not scripted, this guy Dan Goldman was one of the worst cut people in Congress. This guy's horrible. He wants to censor people, but he was acting like Huey Long when he was doing a great job, criticizing Pam Bondi, and he pointed out, there are people trying to contact you, these victims, and she said, anybody that call FBI.800, whatever it was, the website to contact her, and he had a bunch of women behind her. that said, raise your hand if you're a victim and you tried to contact the FBI and they didn't respond. And he had a bunch of them there. And she starts talking about, well, the stock market's over 50,000. Why are we talking about this? Like, what? So it's really a huge illuminating glimpse into what kind of leaders we have. But you're right. I don't know how much of this is theatrics. I hope it's fake and they're just doing this to make people think stuff. But if these emails are legit, why are they letting us see it? And when Russ Winter said yesterday, it vindicates our perceptions, because a lot of us thought this was going on. Some of us have talked about cannibalism because they've tried to hint at it. The New York Times had a story about 5 years ago. I think it was a front page story. We have to get over our hangups about cannibalism. What? Why? And you'll find little references to it into TV shows and things like that. This is what they do. So whether they do it or not, I know it's hard to believe that they do that, but I think that's the biggest take out of this, is that apparently they don't just traffic kids or have sex with them. Apparently they like to eat them. So that's my take on
it. So Jackson in the chat, Jackson Barrett, what's up, buddy? He said that Congress passed a law that made these things get released, and he's absolutely right. And that's part of what I want to lay out later. That's why they're out, in my opinion, so regardless of that, I want to give Tiger his room here, but also I just want to give a big shout out to Bebe Rebozo, who won the Nigerian lottery. Fantastic. Congratulations to you. And somebody else in the chat got $2,000 from Doge. Yo, congrats. Here he goes. It says, BRV, I got $2,000 Trump checks, man. Let me know how I can get mine, please.
Yeah, how do we get it?
Yeah, I want that.
Oh, they're giving you the money back they stole from you through tariffs and devaluing the dollar constantly. Congratulations. You got a pittance back.
Yo, some of his coworkers got 6 to 8 and 12K back. Tiger, man, dude, what are we doing wrong here?
Unbelievable.
Tiger, it's on you, brother. What do you got?
Oy vey. Listen, I'm going to say this first because this is important. We talk about spiritual war. I've been, ever since this with Trump, something triggered my research, went into psychological matters with human beings, how they control us, and just how human beings work. And I can tell you this. We're sitting here on a Saturday afternoon. I have Don Jeffries and Billy Ray Valentine, and we're all very, serious people. And we're talking about child molestation, child rape, child trafficking, eating children, drinking babies' blood. Okay. And everybody watching and everyone is being exposed, contaminated, and polluted by things that would never, ever come up in our purview, in our minds. This is a big deal. I don't think anyone watching or even us fully understand what this is doing to our psyche, our subconscious, and our spirits. And it's very important that we I'm telling y'all, so you got to take a break, do something. This is not good. I did some investigating and I found out that pedophilia is most popular in the United States out of all the countries.
Disgusting.
Okay? And here's the thing.
Number one.
Why? I said, why? Why? Because we sexualize children, because we are exposed to an amount of corruption where we're sitting here calmly. I mean, and I'm not calm about this. When I hear Don say the things he was saying, it sparks an intense emotional response in me. My flight or fight, cortisol is firing, adrenaline is firing. This is not healthy, because this is insane that we're sitting here talking about this. And then to switch on to the more technical aspect of the Epstein files, all the conspiracy people, all the alt-right people, all the alternative media people. Okay. I don't trust the government. I don't even think nation states should exist. Okay. And none of us trust the government. Great mistrust of the government. The government has had these files for years and they're releasing them, and we trust everything they say verbatim. Oh yeah. Oh, there's some redactions here and redactions. Why are we trusting that? Why would, in God's green earth, would they sit there and let us know all of this stuff? There's a reason. And it's not going to be some fantastical thing, the great revealing or the great awakening. They're going to chalk up a lot of stuff as a hoax. There's other stuff in there about COVID. And I noticed there's a lot of things that are non-Epstein, non-mind traumatizing, just crimes of the government in there. They could possibly chalk it up as a hoax. We don't know what the hell they're doing. It's amazing. It's amazing what's going on. And as far as facts, the only facts that we have is the corroborated depositions of the victims. All the rest of this could be made up. It could be another psychological operation, demoralization, more destroying the morals of the country. And here's another thing. Now, if you ask me, they're arguing about but the left and the right, they're arguing about Bad Bunny and Kid Rock. Okay? You just got told your politicians rape kids and eat them. You're arguing about, you should, everyone, and I'm not provoking violence, but in a normal scenario, if you did this in the 1800s and you went to some small town and said, hey, you know, the mayor's been raping kids and eating them along with the sheriff and this, that, they would burn the town down. They wouldn't put up with that shit. So, and that tells me that they know, just like after, they can do anything they want to us. And the conspiracy theory people aren't helping at all. Not in the least bit.
No.
End of story. That's all I have to say for now.
Oh man, that's I agree. You know,
well, I agree too, or angry tired. What I'm saying is that I don't, this could all be made up, and why are they giving us all? But what's important is how we respond to what's put out there. So if we treat, because we should treat this as face value. Okay, they're putting it out there. Yeah, the government lets lie all the time, but then it's incumbent upon them to, then they should do something about it. If this is really true, if our leaders that, then what are you planning to do about it? And they can say, so that's, I just respond to what's there. And then it's a much deeper thing if they're throwing all this out and just try to get a reaction from us. But I suspect we won't have much of a reaction. The conspiracy world, but not even all the conspiracy world, because this is wrapped up in Zionism. So you already have, Ben Shapiro and Tim Pool and lots of people like that are saying there's nothing to it. Because they're trying to cover up the Zionist element of it. And they're just saying there's, so I think that there's a lot to this. I mean, there's even something like, how did Epstein's Zorro Ranch win millions in the lottery? What are the odds of that? But we find that out here. I mean, those are the kind of things, what does that say about the lottery? It's possible, I guess, but pretty unlikely. There's so many things here. The sulfuric acid that was ordered by Epstein and apparently by Steve Bannon. They're trying to show us something. Is what do we think of when we think of sulfuric acid? Maybe getting rid of bodies without a trace. We've seen horror movies, right? So I don't know why they're giving it to us, but I agree with you. We should question it. But I'm just responding to what's there. That if this is true at all, if these are actual emails, what does this say about these people? And indeed, why are we letting them misrule us?
all right. So you said something that it's important how we react to it, and we're seeing the reaction in large form by the alt media. And I saw the reaction last night in part on your show, Don, when people are taking a victory laps, and then they're saying Pizzagate is real and all of this other stuff. And that's a problem, right? And that's part of the reaction that we are having, because we are being psyoped yet again and again and again and again. And sure, call it conspiracy theory, whatever. There is documented proof that we've been psyoped for some time now, and they're admitting it. All right. They're totally admitting it 100%. Now, let's talk about how all of this started. If we're going to take quote unquote victory laps here in the alternative media. It was on out of 4chan, out of 8chan, which apparently out of the Epstein files, we have some connections with Epstein and the founder of 4chan, and what they were trying to do in that area, in that space, and what disinformation they were trying to push out. If we're gonna speculate, but that was in the emails, right? Now, out of all of this came the Wiener laptop, right? There was the Wiener laptop that had pedophilia all over it and had Hillary Clinton doing God knows what, and people were throwing up. The police department was throwing up here in New York City because they couldn't stand the sight of what they were seeing. That was the story that was put out there. It was a precursor to Pizzagate, and Pizzagate was a precursor to QAnon. It's the way it went down, right? So through that, it allowed people, it primed people to believe the Pizzagate narrative. Now, if we go back to the Pizzagate narrative, what was it? People are saying that Pizzagate is real. What was Pizzagate? Pizzagate was talking about the Democratic establishment running a pedophile ring out of a pizza shop in Comet Ping Pong, right? In DC, and it was larger than that at some point, but it was all the Democrats. The Democrats were doing this, it was them. Right. And then adrenochrome and all of this stuff evolved from this into QAnon and all of that stuff. Who used Pizzagate? Who benefited from Pizzagate to get into power? Who did it? Let's be honest with one another.
Donald Trump? You think Donald Trump
No.
benefited from it?
Who used it? Who did this get into power? Because he said, and this is of Steve Bannon and Michael Flynn, who were intimately involved in the beginning of all of this. They said that they were going to reveal all of this and that they were going to protect. Remember, we're old enough to remember we've been in this space when they were talking about all the pedophiles, all the kids. We need to save the kids from these Democrats. We need to save them, right? They rode this all the way to the White House. They made Epstein an issue. Let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Who in Pizzagate, when Pizzagate was at its height in 2016 or 2017, around that time, who was talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Nobody. Nobody. So what the hell were they right about? Pizzagate is correct. Nobody was talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, Pizzagate is, I don't know what Pizzagate means as a term. They just did that because of
Exactly.
Watergate.
That's a good point, Don. Let me finish where I'm going with it, and then I'll give it back to you. You don't know. So please, we need to have some type of accountability. If you don't know what Pizzagate is, don't say it hasn't been disproven. Don't throw that out there and say, well, I don't know what Pizzagate is, but it hasn't been disproven. You understand? A lot of this stuff has been disproven. A lot of it. And a lot of it was used to get these people into the White House by the people that were actually doing it. The people that were actually running some pedophile rings. And that's not to absolve the left either, by the way. There's a lot of people on that side that are involved too. Clinton is all over the files. I don't give a shit about that. What I'm trying to tell you is these people used it, singled out one group of people, turned everybody against that group of people, and rode that momentum into the White House. They rode all of that momentum into the White House. Who made the Epstein files a priority? Everybody talks about Biden, and why didn't Biden release the Epstein files? Why didn't this happen? You want to know an honest answer here? They didn't give a shit. They didn't care. They were never going to release the files. They didn't care. They had moved on. You know who cared? The alternative media. We cared. We spoke about it here. We wanted transparency. We wanted to follow that rabbit hole. These people didn't give a shit. The cultural operatives, people like Steve Bannon, people like Michael Flynn, that are noted psychological operators, psychological warfare operators, they grabbed that. They took that and they molded it and put it back out and just redirected it. Yeah, sure, it was us. You think Elon Musk didn't know? He was trying to get in there. He was trying to get in there. Donald Trump knew he was all over it. He knew it. He knew he was all over here. Pam Bondi knew it. All of these people knew it. RFK Jr. has been linked. Howard Lutnick, Steve Bannon, freaking Pam Bondi, because she was the attorney general in Florida at the time. All of these people. Peter Thiel. It's a who's who of who's running things right now. Okay? And there's a lot more than just the pedophilia angle here. But we were psyoped into believing one thing and completely shutting us off to the other side that said that they were going to reveal everything and fix everything. So who made this an issue? The Trump administration. They made this an issue. And everybody's like, oh, it always goes back to Trump, because it fucking does. Okay? His handlers, you want to talk about his handlers? Fine. Let's talk about Steve Bannon and everybody else. All right. Who made this an issue? They pounded it and pounded it and pounded it. And they said, this is what we're going to do when we get into office. Kash Patel would go around the podcast circuit and talk nonsense for years and years and years. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to reveal this. And the FBI has all the information. And when I become the head, if I ever became the head of the FBI, I'm going to sit in there and I'm going to give out everything. You know, Dan Bongino didn't help the issue. Trump would get on the debate stage and give tidbits that would circle around social media, and boom, everybody was like, yep, we want that, we want that, we want that. And then when they got into power, they didn't do shit. And they lied to us. They lied to us about everything. They said the files didn't exist. What got them into the White House, part of it anyway, all of a sudden didn't exist. Just didn't exist. It wasn't a thing. Kash Patel said it. Pam Bondi said it. Now it turns out that it does exist, and Jackson Barrett is right. Why are we getting the files? Why are they releasing all of this? It's because there was a law passed that made it happen. Why did that law pass? Because the people got so enraged about it, because all of this stuff was coming out, and the Trump administration, who promised to do so much of what they said they were going to do in regards to Epstein, did absolutely nothing but cover up for the pedophiles that they promised to expose, right? The same conspiracy theory that they rolled all the way to the White House because they took Pizzagate, weaponized it, turned it against a certain group of people that would automatically boost them into where they wanted to be. And I guess they thought they could manage it after that, and it didn't work out. People in Europe, in high positions of power, Starmer over in the UK, they're about to lose their jobs, or at least people have already lost their jobs. Here in the United States, nothing. People, they're still in power. There's no big deal, no nothing going around. They took this and worked us, and they're doing it again with the Epstein files themselves. They're doing it again. The amount of speculation that's going around about all of this. You want to talk about jerky? I don't know what jerky means. But a lot of the emails that were sent about jerky were sent to this world-class chef that makes jerky, okay? You want to talk about cannibalism, right? There was the restaurant that's called, it was named after a cyclist. They were paying tribute to this guy, and they called him the cannibal because he ate his competition. And that's the reason they named the restaurant Cannibal Plus whatever the hell.
You put your facts away. I don't want to hear those facts.
Too
Stop
many.
I can't LARP if you don't give me those facts.
Hold
on. So what I'm saying is, and I'm turning it over to you right now, what I'm saying is that we need to be very, very careful about the conclusions that we're jumping to here, because we're being worked. We're being psychologically operated here. All of it. And we're being led down another road. It's spawning a new batch of uninformed conspiracy theorists that are going to screw things up even further moving forward. This is how we got here in the first place. And we need to stop that nonsense. So do I believe, you want to hear what I believe as opposed to what I know? Do I believe that these people are capable of eating children? Absolutely. I believe that. What do I know? I don't know that. I don't. Okay. So we need to stick to what we know. We need to demand clarification on some of these terms instead of jumping to conclusions as to what they mean. Everybody drinks grape soda, not just in the hood, Don. Everybody drinks it. Okay. There was one. I showed it on my show the other day.
I love grape soda.
You don't drink grape soda?
I love it. No, I love it. I found organic grape soda was the happiest day in my life.
It's delicious. There was one instance in the Epstein files where they talk about, hey, let's go get some pizza at this spot, Arturo's Pizza here in Manhattan. Everybody goes there. It's delicious pizza. Some of this stuff is just what they say it is. Is some of this stuff weird as hell? Absolutely. 100% weird as hell. And I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And do I believe that they're capable of what they're being accused of? Yes, I do. But I also know that I don't know specifics about any of this. I know that there's context missing everywhere with all of this. And it's just enough to get us to jump to conclusions about all of this shit. And it's the same thing that happened with Pizzagate. And I'm tired of being manipulated here. And there's probably nothing I can really do about that. I'm going to continue to be manipulated all my life. But if I can limit the amount of manipulation, it'd be great. So let's just pump our brakes and look into some of this stuff. Is Jeffrey Epstein a piece of crap? Yes. Are these people pedophiles? Absolutely. Let's go with what we can prove. And there's more than enough things in these files that we can possibly prove than talking about pizza. Why are they using code sometimes and other times they're not using code?
That's stupid.
Right? Why are they saying, hey, pizza and grape soda, and the next time they're saying, hey, anywhere from 36 to 7-year-olds? Why? We have to figure that out. We have to rationalize that and not jump to conclusions or what we want to believe. I don't want to believe any of this shit. Okay? And how much of it do I know? Even less. But it's out here, and it's out here for a reason. And if you think that they're not going to use this to manipulate, you're sorely mistaken, and they've already done it. They're already doing it. Go ahead, Don.
Again, so-called Pizzagate began with the Podesta emails, which were leaked by Julian Assange, who is still not being pardoned. Donald Trump pardoned some more football players the other day, but he still hasn't pardoned Julian Assange. But if you look at those again, that's where people started counting the reference to pizza and pasta. And the way it's fits with, the guy says, come back to the party. You left a pizza-related map here. These are obvious code words. If you look at Podesta's office, what does it have? What does he have a painting of behind his desk? A human cannibal, somebody eating another human being. This is out there. It's hiding wide open, eyes wide shut, whatever you want to call it. Clearly, there's something with these people, or they just want us to believe that. You said you could believe that they're eating kids. Well,
I could.
The only reason you could believe they're eating kids is because you must realize they're evil. Otherwise, why would anybody? I wouldn't think that of anybody I know. You're eating.
I agree.
Really, you can eat it. But there's something in them. And again, it's dropping these things. And that's where Seth Rich's murder came from. It wasn't just the Democratic National Committee robbing Bernie Sanders. All that came out of that set of emails where, again, they counted the hundreds and hundreds of references to pizza. And we see the same thing here. Now, they've added grape soda. I don't think I've had grape soda since I was a kid. But if I was an elitist, I don't think the elite are drinking grape soda. They may drink, some kind of wine or something, but that's very odd. And you wouldn't, again, the way they talk, much like in the Podesta emails, come over for pasta tonight. Wouldn't you be a little more specific? Like spaghetti, lasagna is always pasta. That's not the way people talk. And you don't see, let's go get pizza and grape soda. You're going to assume everybody in the party wants to drink the same thing. That's not the way you talk. It's code word. Now they may want us to believe, and that's the way a lot of us have responded to it. That may be the reaction they want, but this is because basically what it is when you say it's been debunked and all that says it's been debunked by the same people who debunked a conspiracy in the JFK assassination or 9/11 as an inside job. They debunk everything because that's their job. They're state-controlled media. They don't want you questioning it. Nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing to see here. Everything's cool. What will happen out of this? Probably nothing. And again, I agree with you guys. I certainly don't trust that Thomas Massey and Bo Khanna, they're the ones that together got them to release this stuff. And you could ask why it wasn't released before. This goes back, as Massey pointed out, back to the George W. Bush administration. So this is 4 administrations that, have allowed this material to sit there because so many of them are involved in it. I don't think most of us weren't thinking of this as a Democratic Party thing, other than that it started with Podesta, who's a Democratic Party honcho, and his brother, as R.B. Ham pointed out in there. If you look at some of the artwork, that's very real and put in John Podesta's home. Tony Podesta's home. They've shown pictures of that where he has pictures of naked little kids on paintings with red bottoms. he has weird sculptures that seem to emulate Jeffrey Dahmer's victim. It's so there's what is going on? These people are very, very weird. And even going back to Comet Pizza, that pizza was maybe I think none of their claiming was Photoshop. There's a little 4-year-old girl that was duct taped to a table. Who takes a picture of that? I don't know what that means, but it's not normal. There's another one. There's a big empty stainless steel room where they're joking about #kill room. Does that mean I don't know. I don't know who would joke about something like that. Were they trying to convey that? I don't know. The bathrooms at that place supposedly were camouflaged. So you have a hard time getting it. What? For a family-friendly restaurant? I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't think anything's been debunked. These same people that when I hear they debunk something, they're either the Snopes team or now they're the mysterious fact checkers. They haven't debunked anything because they lie all the time. And they're constantly having to debunk more of their lives. And that's all they do. I don't trust anything. So I'm just looking, as I said, it's how we respond to this. And we ought to, if we're not responding with outrage that these apparently these elite engage in these things, the most dangerous game activities, maybe eating people, hoarding sulfuric acid, maybe winning a lottery somehow. We should be outraged about that. But instead we have people that certainly on the Republican side that want to talk about the stock market, and others just say, well, we don't know, and we don't know. All I'm saying is I'm responding to the material there. Could it be fake? Yeah, of course. And then that's probably a deeper rabbit hole. Why are you putting that? Why do you want us to think you're doing this? You want us to think you're eating people. You want us to think that you really like grape soda a lot. You're just putting out there to make it look like it's code for something. You really, really like pizza so much that it's 800, 900 references to it. You could go through every email I've ever written. And I don't think you're going to find more than maybe if any references to pizza you find, but it wouldn't be more than a couple. And I think I pretty much like everybody else. It's just not something that I love pizza. Although they're making it to the maybe I don't need to love pizza anymore. I'm thinking, what the hell is this really about here? But so I think we're on the same page in terms. I'm dubious about everything, but we can't just let this die and just say that well they're just lying to us and they want to get a reaction and they want to psyop us and they do psyop us. But let's respond how this is awful stuff. Explain it, and a lot of these people are still alive. And we can do that, but I know we're not going to get anywhere because you have Trump. You're right, did use it. His son was still talking about releasing Epstein files right before Trump suddenly said there are no Epstein files. Kash Patel did used to talk about it a lot. Now he's a director. So what does that tell you? That he never really believed it, or this as soon as they get into power, Dan Bongino, the same thing. I saw it. He killed himself. There was no Epstein files or whatever. That's what we ought to be concentrating on. But unfortunately, we're just going to get in bickering, and it'll probably go away. It'll probably go away and no one will be prosecuted. But I still say that because Trump's name wasn't redacted on several really horrible allegations, which is very odd because so many games were rejected. They were talking about Lex Wessner's name, and that was one of the point of contentions with Pam Bondi. How is Donald Trump's not? Why wouldn't they redact his name every time? This is the Trump Justice Department. Aren't they supposed to be covering up for him? But instead, it makes it look like he's the only elitist that is really doing this stuff. He's watching a baby being thrown in Lake Michigan, and he's warning his director of security is warning some other girl, you could wind up on the back nine buried like all the other girls that tried to question this. And he's saying, I can have your whole family killed. Why would they leave that? And they're redacting so much other stuff. So there's a part of me that believes this is maybe the way they're going to get rid of Trumpenstein. I don't know. That could be easily wrong. But there's a lot there to sift through, and we all have our own opinions. But all I can do is react to the material. Yeah, if it's fake, then it's fake. But I can't prove that.
No, I hope you're right. I hope this is what gets rid of Trump. We need to cut out the tumor, and then deal with everything else later. We need to cut out the tumor and deal with everything else later. So I hope they get rid of that. This is also a much bigger issue of these elites and what they're doing. But we just need to be conscious of how we move and what we're talking about. And I'm not saying abandon anything. RB Ham, Lex Wessner is not going to jail. No one is going to get arrested here. It's at least I don't think so. You know, I'd be very surprised if any of these people that were named actually get arrested. And maybe when somebody else takes power, if they're allowed to take power, that is not squarely MAGA, decides to investigate, maybe there'll be something there. But then a lot of the people that are MAGA are going to call it lawfare. They're like, this is lawfare, and they're using it, you know, against the other side. This is what has been laid out in the last 10 years. This is where we are now, where any investigation of the other side is considered lawfare by the people that are being investigated or the side that's being investigated. You know, and that's inevitably going to happen again. Although I think a lot of people are breaking away. This could be wishful thinking. And I'm throwing it to you, Tiger, after this. This could be a lot of wishful thinking, but I do see some evidence of people are like, you know what? This was all nonsense, and I don't want anything to do with it. Plus, these people are freaking pedophiles. They're disgusting. Deepak Chopra is disgusting. Disgusting person. Yeah. Freaking Bill Gates, motherfucker. What are you doing to that poor woman that was your wife? Good Lord. Good Lord. You understand? And there's really no way we can really separate ourselves from these people because they provide so much of what it is that we do, meaning in electronics, in our day-to-day lives. Like, try to separate yourself from Microsoft. See how well that goes for you. You understand? Like, it's a really screwed up situation here. But also, I think we need to see. I think we just concentrate on different parts of the problem. And my biggest deal, what I think the root of this problem is the mental manipulation. It's the warfare that's going on with our minds. And that's what I want to, and maybe I don't do the best job at communicating this, but that's what I want people to see. We are being manipulated in every way, shape, and form. And it's never been more evident than it is right now. And it's only going to get worse if we don't get hip to it. You understand? So anyway, Tiger, your thoughts, buddy?
You know, you guys, Don, you said something very, very important. And Don, you know, anything I say, I'm not directing anything at you, brother. You're talking about reactions, and I like that. Okay. I love that. I respect you highly, and I agree with. This is like a show, the show of psychological warfare, as Billy is alluding to right now. And part of that is reactions. When you're not proactive and you're reactionary, you are already in the process of anything that you're doing in life. You're taking a step in the wrong direction. You're getting off on the wrong foot. You're unbalanced because you're reacting to it. So your emotions and stuff like that. I mean, natural reactions are different, but this mind control, if Billy says something about Trump and, you know, Trump is in our lives, Billy has to talk about Trump and all the bad things that are going on with him, you know, because this guy controls a lot. He's an economic wrecking ball. Yeah, he's got to go. All these people are scumbags, you know, all of them. They're all pedophiles. We know they're evil. We know all of this stuff. All right. And that doesn't mean that we're picking a side, the left or the right. I don't look at things through a political lens, but back to the reaction. What is the reaction going on in the alt media? Pizzagate. You guys were talking about Pizzagate there. When I heard it, I did not have a show when it first came out. Finally, when I started doing my own podcasting, you know what pissed me off about Pizzagate? This is what pisses me off. Number one, use some common sense. The FBI has a list of these code words, right? That's how we know what they mean, right? They got this list. Anybody look where that list came from? It came from child trafficking rings and pedophilia and pedophiles, okay? Specific cases they were investigating. And that some certain words came up in certain circles. That's where that code comes from. Now, do you think the high people in government got connections everywhere? This secret pedophile ring. Oh, yeah, we're going to use all the lists, all the words that are on the FBI's data list so we get caught red-handed. Do you think they're that dumb? If you think they're that dumb, you're really LARPing. And what makes me angry about this, even before I had my show, son of a bitches, man, there's children being abused. There's child trafficking going on. And when you talk this dumb shit that you cannot prove, you can't prove a fucking word of it. Right. It continues to go on. And right. I watch the mainstream media and I watch the left marginalize all of that information. And now it's a second thought because it's Looney Tune talk, like everything the alt media does, because we talk about what we think for views, for clicks, to be salacious, to be bombastic. Everybody is Alex Jones. And we're LARPing. Oh, yeah. Oh, John Podesta is going to use all these fucking code words that the FBI has a list of. He's a fucking retard. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm pissed because kids are involved in this. And that huge, important subject is not getting the attention it needs because we got a bunch of Looney Tune people who want to feel important and LARP about, oh, I know everything. I'm a conspiracy theorist and I know stuff other people don't know. I know hidden knowledge. Everybody else, they're the sheeple and they're dumb. And you know what you're doing? You're letting them continue to victimize the children. They're still getting kidnapped. They're still getting raped. And you're not helping. You're hurting. Stop it. They're running around like that kid on The Simpsons. I'm helping. I'm helping. Sorry, that pisses me off, man. Yeah, that's a subject that pisses me off. Pizzagate. Stop it.
Yeah, it's detrimental to what we're trying to do here. And the Pizzagate, in my opinion, is a prime example of how we were manipulated. So we should look at it in those terms. And somebody in the chat was like, Pizzagate hasn't been debunked 100%. End of story. I forgot who it was. Point by point, we can go through it. How what Pizzagate actually is and how it's been debunked. The only thing that persists from there is child sex trafficking. Right. Now, the Pizzagate conspiracy theory was in detail, was more than just that. It was that a child sex trafficking was the umbrella, but it was directed at certain people, and they made up terms and had us believe that they were real terms. They made up an FBI list that didn't exist. The only thing we were able to prove recently, anyway, along with John Brissom. And I forgot who else was involved. I'm missing. I'm S90. I know S90 was involved. It was cheese pizza. Cheese pizza was a term used before Pizzagate came about to discuss child porn, and MAP. I forgot what MAP meant or whatever. But even it made something about attractive persons, attractive children, or something, some nastiness. But we were going over it this morning, actually, with Brissom before I came on air. And this needs further verification. But MAP, in the way it was talked about in Pizzagate, there was only one email of that. And it takes a lot to make the leap over to they're talking about child sex trafficking. It's weird, and I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And is it code? I think it is, but I don't know what it's code for, and neither do any of you. I mean, I'm sorry to say it like that. I don't mean it in an insulting way. I'm just saying I don't know.
What if it's cocaine? What if it's hookers? What if,
It could be that. It still could be something bad. We just don't know what it is exactly. So hot dog isn't a real thing. That was made up. And Alex Jones pushed that shit. And he did it on purpose. Go talk to David Knight about the amount of disinformation that comes out of that filth rag of an organization. He did it on purpose, knowing it, because he wanted the clicks. Macaroni and cheese, ice cream, all of this stuff. It's like, what the hell? Regardless, we're here now. And we're being manipulated yet again. I don't want to lose sight of what's important, right? All of these people need to be investigated. If you are in those files, whether you're innocent or not, everyone needs to be investigated. That's the blanket statement I'm taking. People talking about Jay-Z, and he was in the files. I am no fan of Jay-Z. But they got Jay-Z in these files in 1996. He put out his first album in 1996. Nobody knew who he was, and Pusha T, even worse. Pusha T didn't come out till like 2000, I think, with the Clips. So explain that one to me. Like there's a lot of weird shit in these files. There's a lot of stuff that we don't have context for, and it's ripe for manipulation. There you have it. All right, Don, go ahead.
Well, there's, and again, all we can, I just say, when we talk about anything being debunked, I mean, I've never heard of anything coming out of the conspiracy world that has been debunked adequately by mainstream, because it's always mainstream sources.
But
They lie
now
about
let me interrupt you
everything.
for a
Yeah.
second, and it'll be quick. That's the thing. If we don't, you will never accept any debunking from anywhere else. You just won't accept it.
Not from
That's
mainstream sources, I won't, no.
You won't, exactly. So we're going nowhere. We're going to go nowhere. If somebody disproves something to me, I'm going to say, okay, it's disproved. Wherever it's, if Pizzagate comes out tomorrow that all of that shit was real, I'm going to show up here and say, damn, that shit is real. But there are some people that just won't accept any disproving, and they'll just say, well, it's fake news. This is what Trump did for the majority of his tenure, just standing up there while they were shooting stuff at him. And he was like, that's fake news, deflection, instead of actually answering it and going through it point by point and debunking what it is they're saying to you. You just say, no, that's fake news. And that's not a sustainable way to push forward in a movement where we're trying to expose things.
You have to be able to debunk yourself. What we're doing is important, right?
But you look at so many of these things. You're talking about eyewitnesses. Jeannie Poole mentioned the Haitians eating dogs and cat stuff. We had tons of people claiming they were. Were they all lying? Maybe. I don't know. But they were saying, and same thing with Hurricane Helene, when we had tons of people on the ground saying FEMA was hindering rescue efforts. So were they all lying? And yet it's been debunked. The same people, they debunk conspiracy theories about JFK. I've studied that my entire life. The official theory is impossible. Yes, people are going to have conspiracies. And this is the problem with JFK or anything else. When you have a lying government, you have a state-controlled media that lies for the government, people are going to speculate. They're going to theorize. Some of it are, Alex Jones, whatever, you can say he's doing it because he's paid to do it. But a lot of people are just going to do it because they're trying to think. They're trying to process this and make sense of it. We don't have the resources of the New York Times or Washington Post or anything. And so we can't, what can we do? We can only speculate. And here or there, I get to talk to somebody that, was personally involved with this, but then you can say, well, they're lying, so I just know we're being lied to. I don't know what's really going on, but I know what they're telling you is a lie. There's everything. They've never told us. I've 3 volumes of hidden history I put out now. I'm still waiting to find the first historical event or person that they told the truth about. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe one day I will. They lie about everything. They distort the truth, and you can see it in real time with current events. So they'll end up lying about this to whatever extent they talk about the Epstein files. I don't anticipate that Thomas Massey's going to lead a crusade and we're going to have people prosecuted for this. I don't think so. I would like to think that. But I do think it's waking more people up to maybe this is how people are, or our people are. Maybe they want us to think that. I don't know, but I'm coming to the point that I don't think they're as smart as we give them credit for. I think that they have power. If you look at Epstein, if those are real emails from Epstein, he can't construct a sentence. Neither can anybody else in there. I think that's indicative of they're not that brilliant. They have power, so they don't have to be smart. But that's me speculating. But I don't know. I'm being lied to, and that's all I can say for certain is that they're lying to us. What the truth is, I don't know if we can figure out.
I think you're right, Don. I think we do give them too much credit as far as how smart they are. But let's use that same energy when it comes to the Epstein files and their redactions, and why they didn't redact Trump's name and everything. I think these people are massively incompetent. Massively incompetent.
Yeah, they are.
So I think Jeffrey Epstein was an idiot, and the fact that he had all these billions of dollars I think it. And there's a lot to be said for Israeli intelligence and Russian intelligence as well. People want to poo-poo on the Russian side of things, but let's remember how this whole shit kicked off. You want to talk about Pizzagate? Who hacked the Podesta emails? It was Guccifer, right? Guccifer 2.0, and he got linked directly to Moscow. He was in Moscow when it happened. So this is, go look it up. But then again, it's, what do you choose to believe? What do you choose to accept? And what is evidence to you? like Genius here says that it hasn't been debunked enough to his liking. Pizzagate hasn't been debunked enough to his liking. What I will give you on that is that we need clarifications on these terms. We need clarifications on these terms. A lot of this other stuff was just nonsense. A lot of the terms were nonsense, but we have been primed to believe for a long time by outlets like John Birch, that the left are demons. They're devils, literal devils. Maybe there are people with different opinions. Maybe we don't agree with those opinions. Maybe it doesn't fit with our lifestyle, but are they freaking devils? And sure, some of them are, but as we can tell, there's a lot of them on the other side too. Devils are devils, bro. It could be liberal devils or conservative devils. They're still devils. You understand what I'm saying? And what this operation served to do was point the spotlight on one set of devils. That was it. And that's my problem with all of this.
Dehumanizing the other side, that psychological warfare
Absolutely.
continues on both sides.
That's an important point. The dehumanization of these people. But now we see stuff like this coming out, right? And it's like they're eating babies, right? Like, I don't even know. I will tell you, like, my mind exploded at that point. I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't care. I don't want to. I just don't want. I don't want to even see it. All right, So maybe they're eating kids, maybe they're not. I wouldn't put it past any of these fools. They were into some sick shit. Jeffrey Epstein wanted to spread his genes all over the world. He was in Harvard trying to look for ways to become a superhuman or whatever. They had some crazy beliefs that they were trying to do. And this goes back to the Nazis and even further than that. That type of belief, that type of talk. And what do we see now? Open Zig Heils by Steve Bannon on nationwide television, and nothing happens to him. It's the normalization of all of this stuff. I'm just saying, it's a mess. It's a total mess. Don Jeffries, closing thoughts. I'm going to give them to Tiger because he's our guest, but you get closing thoughts. I'm not going to give any. Go ahead, sir.
Again, people can find me on Substack, Donald Jeffries at Substack.com. I protest, the only place I'm not being shadow banned. All my books are out there. The latest is American Memory Hole. And by the way, just to tell you the reach you have, I got an email earlier this week from Alice Walker, who I kind of recognize that name. And she said, I love your work, and how great she thought I was a writer. I said, okay, well, that's cool. And then I looked and I said, this can't be the same Alice Walker that wrote The Color Purple. And I wrote her back and I said, you could, and she is the same woman that wrote The Color Purple. So this is a Black feminist, somehow is a fan of my work. She read American Memory Hole and loved it. So I'm trying to figure out some kind of way I can maybe get her to write something or whatever for me. But so you never know. You never know who's reading. That's a great thing about having material out there, is anybody could read it.
All right. Fantastic. Do you have any closing thoughts on what we talked about, sir?
No, I mean, we have, I think, again, we all have the same basic disagreement on what you're saying. I mean, I'm more mistrustful of everything, and I don't trust the all conspiracy world anymore. I have problems with most of them because of the way especially if they interpret, I'm not partisan. I don't care about the left or right. And so far, what we're seeing it concentrates more on the right, which again is odd given the fact that this is Trump's Justice Department. But again, that's why I say I don't know if Trump is meant to look like this, because he comes off looking pretty bad. So, and of course, his response is just going to make himself look worse, because that's what he does. But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't make predictions, but I think it's interesting. And who knows what's in the other 3 million files? I mean, I don't know if you can go beyond cannibalism. I think that's pretty much as far as they can go with it.
All right. Fantastic. I don't even want to see the 3 million files that who knows if this is what they're dropping now. What kind of nonsense are we going to be exposed to later? I don't. Aliens is next.
You stole it right out of my brain, dude.
Aliens is next, man. Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with aliens at freaking Fort Knox in the vault where the gold used to be, and it's no longer there anymore.
And there was a unicorn involved.
Angry Tiger, what's good, brother? How you
Listen,
doing?
and here's the thing, Don. I appreciate what you do. It's not that I disagree. I don't know myself, and I think the two important things I want to impart, and I'll tell you where you can find me. But is number one, I think when it comes to the truth, I think everyone has their own perspective, but don't lie to yourself. Try to be sensible about what you're seeing. Try not to lie to yourself. If you really want to look into it, then do some digging and find out for yourself and debunk whatever it is you're trying to debunk, but don't be scared to debunk yourself.
Right.
Because you have to remember that we're, as human beings, are wired to like, I don't like the Federal Reserve. I would love to hear that Jerome Powell was, hunched like a gargoyle on a picnic bench, eating some small child. Not a small child, but I mean, doing something horrible. What I'm saying is that, yeah, that would fit into the way that I think about the Federal Reserve. But I really would have to do some intellectual introspect. And am I being intellectually honest with myself? Because this is something that of course I could imagine, so here's that part. The other part is throughout all of this, the most important thing is what we're letting our brains get fed by, for Pete's sake, ladies and gentlemen. We're sitting here talking about kids getting raped and eaten. I mean, these things are going inside our hearts, our souls, and our minds, and we have to deal with them. And these things go into your subconscious. And this stuff manifests itself in different ways that we don't understand because it's dangerous. So keep your spirit together and love. Remember, through all this darkness, you have love. And that is the most powerful thing in the universe. And if you want to find Angry Tiger, tonight, I'm pushing the night show. Ooh. Come on Rumble in the Tiger's Den. Ooh. Lots of fun. We get rid of all the, all this nonsense. It's not no conspiracy nonsense. Come have a cocktail, smoke your weed, whatever you do. Request some music. I do a 15-minute set list. Dang. We have a lot of fun. Everybody, the chat's great. You get in there after I'm done doing my thing. You guys get to request songs.
Can I request some Paul McCartney tonight?
You can request anything you want.
Can we do Bluebird?
Sure.
Off a Band on the Run.
I'll have it queued up. You show up and you'll get it.
I mean, for Thanksgiving, for Valentine's Day, yeah. I want to send that out to all my beautiful ladies. Nice. Bluebird, fantastic. What a beautiful song. Fucking Paul McCartney's the man. And he's not Billy Shears. He's Paul fucking McCartney, guys. One thing before we get out of here, the chef, just in case anybody wants to look this up about the jerky situation, this is all up in the air. If anybody has some credible information, email us, man. We'd love to hear it, right? We'd love to know more about this. But the chef that these emails about jerky, that a lot of them were going to, was Chef Francis Derby is his name. And he had a restaurant in New York that is closed called The Cannibal. And we went over that earlier today, what that meant according to them. And it was a Belgian cyclist, Eddie Merckx, that the restaurant was named after, The Cannibal, because he used to eat his competition. It was in tribute to Eddie. So the chef's name is Francis Derby for anybody that is interested. Or we can keep believing what it is we want to believe. And remember, that's why the X-Files is so prophetic to me, and it keeps a nice spot in my heart. Even Bill Cooper used to draw from the X-Files drew from Bill Cooper. Let me put it that way. So that's intimately involved too. But what do you want to believe? What do you want to believe? Be real with yourself about what do you want to believe, and how much evidence there is to back up what you want to believe. Because what you want to believe isn't necessarily what you should be believing. Believe what you want, though. My name is Billy Ray Valentine. We're getting up out of here. Shouts to Tony Arterburn. It's America Unplugged. Check me tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, officially on the Gorilla Underground YouTube channel or my X. I might go on at 6, like I said before. Angry Tiger will be joining me. We'll talk a lot about this. Jeremy Roshka's show should be on with me as well. And we might have one or two other surprises. It might be a long one. We got a lot to talk about, guys. If you want honest, real perspective, we try to be as evidence-based as possible. And when we're speculating, we're going to say so. Come and join the Gorilla Underground, man. Join the resistance. straight out of New York City. Happy Valentine's Day, ladies. Who's in the chat? Let me say what's up to the people. Jackson is in the chat. He says, I'm a facilitator. I'm a facilitator or something. I don't know what that is. What's up, Jackson? How you doing? Marco is in the chat. Isn't Valentine's Day a satanic holiday? I don't know if it is or isn't, man, but don't miss out, bro. Don't sit in your living room and be like, yo, this is Satan. And then, you don't get no girls, man, because of it. You know what I mean? Like, stop it. Ashley's in the chat. What's up, Ashley? How are you? Good to see you. Always good to see Ashley. Raybo is in the chat. Always good to see Raybo. Everybody was great in the chat today. Everybody had a lot of cool things to say. Funny people. What's my guy Twisted is a troll at this point. The hell, Twisted. Cut me some slack. BRV, this is RB Ham. Are you going to be on with RB tonight?
Yeah, I put it on there. Yeah, I'm on tonight at 9 p.m. A little hour later news on his Beyond the Pale channel.
Yeah. Maybe I'm amazed. Karen Carpenter, that's a fantastic song. What a be Paul McCartney wrote Hey Jude, possibly the greatest song ever written. All right. I'm just saying. Aleister Crowley, Bring On the Beatles album was just being on the Beatles album was just a coincidence. No, it wasn't a coincidence, but it was what you thought it was, right? Was it what you thought it was? There were tons of other people on that album, on that's a really interest. I loved that conspiracy theory because it was fun, to look at the Beatles and whether or not Paul was dead. Largely it leads nowhere, but it was fun at least to speculate in that direction. Yeah, the Sgt. Pepper album cover is riddled with symbolism, and they were into that shit back then. So there's that. All right, what do we got? Let me say what's up to a few more people before we get out of here. I don't know who else is here. We've read the documents. What's up? How you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. It's John Brissom, who is trying his best to weave his way through all of this shit too. Robin Lee in the chat. How are you? Greetings and blessings to you. There's Twisted again. Bronx Stompers. How you doing? What's going on? I Don't Care Anymore by Phil Collins. I would play it, but I don't want to mess up anybody's YouTube channel. I'll play it on mine tomorrow, though. So if you want to tune in, I'll play. I Don't Care Anymore by Phil Collins. Phil Collins is in a rough spot. Have you guys seen Phil Collins lately? Don?
Tiger? I heard he was.
He doesn't look good.
He doesn't look good at all. God bless him, man. He's a genius. That guy. Incredible songs for a long, long time. Songs that will live on forever. All right, everybody on Rumble. Were you over on Rumble, Tiger? Because I didn't see the chat.
Yeah, we got Yona. We got Yona and Yona. Harry Junkman. Tom, what's going on? Misfit 1904.
What's up?
We got the real Jason Barker coming up here at 2 p.m. Saturday.
Jason Barker, Knights of the Storm. What's going on?
We had the den mother of the Tiger's Den, Karen Carpenter. We had, who else do we have there? Opossum King. We had, let me see here. I'm scanning. I don't want to miss anybody. Bronx Stomp was in there too. Lieutenant Oracle of Truth, Ridiculously Random was in there too.
Damn. Oh, that's Colin. What's up, Colin? How you doing, my guy?
What's going on? I remember Colin.
Yeah.
We had somebody else we had Brad Souter.
What up, Brad?
Let me see.
I gotta run, guys.
Bye, Don. We'll see you tonight. On the
Take it easy, Don. God bless.
Okay,
later, buddy.
Thanks, you too.
Second Wind, and I think I'm getting somebody blue or something like that. Big Blue Hippo, I think, or something.
What's up, Big Blue Hippo? What's going on?
Harps was in there. And I think I got everybody now.
What's up, Harps? How you doing? Bebe in the chat. I forgot about him or her. Who debunks the debunkers? That one's interesting. I don't know, but I guess I don't know. We've become so distrusting here, and it's American paranoia. It's steeped into the culture of modern day America, where we deny evidence-based factual evidence, factual proof of things because we just don't trust anything anymore. And I don't know how to get around that, bro. I mean, I really don't. But we have a lot of work to do as a people. That's it, man. John Bastiglione, what's going on? I see you too. I'm glad I caught you, man, because you're always doing your thing in the chat. I appreciate you. Jeannie Poole also. What's up, Jeannie? How are you? Glad I caught you as well. All right, man. One more thing. There was a Possum King, you said, right?
Yeah, Possum King.
So that reminded me of the Toadies. I want to say 1996.
Yeah.
Possum Kingdom. So play that tonight, Angry Tiger. Even though I know that there's no bump to it. It's not necessarily.
I put anything in, man. They can request from Slayer to Frank Sinatra, bro.
It's not necessarily.
After I get all my bump out the way in the beginning, right? Because I got to get jazzed up. The only thing is when I'm on there, I might scratch over some songs. I have to add effects.
Yeah.
So that way we don't get copyrighted.
Right,
but I don't molest the songs too much, but I have to do something.
Make up your mind. Decide to walk with me around the lake tonight. Around the lake tonight by my side. I'm going to go bump that in a second.
I'm going to take samples out of that song because there are some good samples in there.
I'm going to blow my ears out to the Toadies. Mexican Hairless was fantastic. I Come From the Water. When I'm Away. That album was so dope and it's so underrated. Go check out the Toadies if you're into that sort of shit. All right, let's get up out of here. No music tonight. The Angry Tiger joining us today. Don Jeffries and, of course, Tony Otterburn. Shouts to you wherever you are. Thank you for setting up the stream this morning. To the 100+ people joining us here and whomever is joining us over on Rumble, we appreciate you. Be good. Take it easy now. Bye-bye. Tiger, hang on.